Cancer. Hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for early May 2026. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business, as always, and start you off with an oracle card, just so we can dip our toes in energy and see what's happening for the lovely Cancer Collective. Hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. My guide, spirit team, talk to me. What do we got for the beautiful Cancer Collective in early May 2026? What energies, messages, insights can we take a little peek at? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card, then we'll get into the full reading itself. And at the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot, just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you could be leaning into, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Cancer in early May. It is Taurus season. What energies? What's the vibe? What's happening for my friends? There we go. So cool. Queen of Swords type of energy. Obviously, she's not the literal queen because we're using an oracle deck, but I love this strong divine feminine energy. She's just about her business, which is pretty cool to me. Now, before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the May subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye. You know, I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, back into the reading. Let's talk more in depth about this. So again, when I see this strong, powerful, divine, feminine figure, she just screams Queen of Swords archetype to me. So for some of you, could it be an air sign like Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, potentially? Again, it's not gender specific. This could just be an energy that some of you are stepping into. When I see her, she is straightforward and to the point. No fluff, no BS. It's very intelligent. This is great for like learning things and strategy and planning. The Queen of Swords has a lot of positives to her. And as I mentioned, she's not really messing around. Like, she is about her business, which is pretty cool. Very honest, shrewd type of energy. But the downside to her, sometimes she could just be a little too blunt with the words, right? There's a little edge to the Queen of Swords, whereas sometimes she could be a little mean, right? It's like a sharp tongue. So watch out for that, especially if you're dealing with somebody that's got a sharp tongue on them. That could be it too. But generally, she's a pretty good energy that we're looking at here. Now, sometimes she does pop up when there's certain situations that should be taken seriously or certain things you are taking seriously. So I'm feeling neutral about her. I'm not saying that there's anything super rough about the Queen of Swords here, but yeah, she is just not messing around, right? So we're going to let her chill there. We're not going to upset her. Let's get into tarot. And yeah, I always say that first card, it doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 tarot cards in the upright. Then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. Shuffle it up one time here for Cancer. What do we got? And while we get this deck shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading. So it was titled A Shocking Change. There was some tower-esque type of energy showing up there, which you weren't the only one. There were a lot of signs that had towers showing up last week for some reason. But listen, every tower is not a bad tower. Sometimes change can be good, even if it's a little uncomfortable. And that's like part of the thing I was picking up, was the energy didn't feel super comfortable. It was shifting nonetheless. So keep your head on a swivel over the next couple weeks. But we're going to see what shows up this week. As you know, energy is very fluid, never set in stone. So only take this how it hits for you, because we could be seeing your vibe or somebody else, right? Let's get it going. 3 cards here for Cancer in early May. What's happening for my good friends? Cool. Okay, strength, like it. It's a nice karmic, angelic type of energy. There's a lot of willpower when I see the strength card. So that could be good. I think it's a pretty good place to start from, especially since it's, yeah, more fire. So there's a lot of fire around you this week. We got the Knight of Wands. Cool. And for some of you, this could be absolutely fantastic. It could. Let's get one more. Let's get one more, then we'll start piecing it together for Cancer. Thank you. Cool. Yeah, 7 of Cups, the menu board of life. So I feel pretty neutral overall so far with the energy that we got coming up. But let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes. Then we'll get into that juicy, intuitive stuff. But at first glance, you know me, I always love to look at the elements. I feel like that frames the reading, and it works as a nice guide to tell us how things could be flowing, right? So we have a lot of fire and a little bit of water. This is definitely the comfort zone back here. But I like when it's not all one thing, but we need to pay attention since there is so much fire right now. When it comes to fire, that's the element of action. So whether it's the actions that you take, the actions you want to take, actions other people take, I think of health, I think of vitality and energy levels. So usually a lot of fire is good for increased energy and increased vitality, which can be great. Now, for some of you, maybe you're feeling a little more down than usual. I'm not saying that's definitely the case, but the fire helps with that. Again, there's a lot of movement, there's a lot of action with this, but the only downside to the fire is one, the intensity. It's a super intense, fast moving type of energy, and it could also be very unpredictable. I always say fire's a volatile element, right? Like it could be one way 1 second, then a wildfire the next. So we need to see there's an explosive quality. But we do have water here, which does seem to cool the flames a little bit, which is pretty cool. Now, water, that's your comfort zone, that's your power element. I always say that's the internal world, so matters of the heart, whether it's personal relationships, whether it's your emotional level, emotional state. Water is great in a Cancer reading, right? It's artistic, it's creative, it's expressive. But again, there's a lot of emotion here, and the downside to so much emotion is that sometimes it could be a little overwhelming, or sometimes emotion can pull us under, right? That's the downside to it. But I feel like it works well off of this fire for the most part. But yeah, very creative too. So like the artistic, creative problem solving, all that stuff is highly favored. Let's go through and start building this out piece by piece. Position number one, we got the strength card. Big Leo energy. If you're connected to Leo or have Leo placements, that's a power card right there. And we see this angelic lady taming this lion, literally, right? So I think it's a nice, cool image. She does have the infinity symbol over her head. I like the strength card. Now, normally to me, it represents loving, caring, nurturing energy, tackling problems with love and empathy as opposed to brute force. So, whether it's treating yourself with kindness and empathy, self love, self care, treating others that way, that's a big thing with strength. Now, it does talk about one's character. That's another thing. It's not physical strength, it's not brawn, it's strength of character and who someone is at their core. So, I do like this. Now, sometimes strength can show up when we're going through a trying time, when we're going through a difficult period, because this card can have a lot of determination. We're not even going to talk about the karmic aspects. We'll see if any more themes show up. But the downside to strength is that sometimes it can represent when we're tired of something, or when we're feeling just zapped, like, oh, I've been trying so hard. So that's just something to watch out for. It will often show up when we're going through some sort of test. So whether it's a situation, whatever it might be, strength tests us. It tests our determination. And sometimes this card can cave to temptation. Now, moving to the center, we do have the Knight of Wands. I like it. Some more fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Now, if you're not connected to any of those, Knights to me, they're action. So this is a double down of the action. It's from the action suit and it's an action card. And Knights are also messengers. So they could be a conversation of some kind. So that's something we want to look for. Now, the Knight of Wands is very high energy, life of the party, very bold type of vibe. So I usually like the Knight of Wands for that. Super outgoing. It's an energy that does well in the spotlight. So there could be something here about gaining, giving, receiving attention. But the downside to the Knight of Wands is the unpredictability. So whether it's the actions, whether it's the communication, whatever way it shows up, sometimes the Knight of Wands can like throw you for a loop and throw a curveball. So it's something we want to watch out for, especially with the fire heavy, dense energy right in the front. Now, moving to the back, it does cool off quite a bit as we get this Knight of Wands right back by the Strength card. We have the Seven of Cups. Cool. And I like to call this card the menu board of life. And we see this individual, it's like, which cup am I going to take? Beautiful. It's a card of options, paths, choices, limitless things ahead of us. So I really like the Seven of Cups for that. It could also be a very imaginative, daydreamy, or dreamy in general type of energy. Everyone knows Cancers are very creative, highly empathetic, and in tune with these types of energies. So just know that could be heightened a little bit in this time with the Seven of Cups. Now, what might be the downside? I mean, in the positive, this is great for manifestation and creation. It really is, where it's like, I choose the path. I'm choosing what I want to bring in. That's great. But the downside to the Seven of Cups is sometimes it could be a little too daydreamy. Sometimes it's an energy that could be in its head a little too much, or it could overthink things. And sometimes it could be a lot of fantasizing and stuff like that. And hey, nothing wrong with that. But the card can go overboard sometimes. So I want to dive deeper on all of this, Cancer. Let's do it. Let's jump in and clarify. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here. What do we got for our Cancer friends? What's happening? And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot. Because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation. And I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on strength. Oh, and yes, to your reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Cancer, you could drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, strength time. Okay, cool. Feel very neutral about this for some reason. So we do have the lovers in reverse underneath it. It's like somebody giving me a hard time. Okay, so the lovers. We're going to have to dig a little deeper into this. Archangel Raphael, we have the Adam and Eve symbolism happening here. Big card of partnerships, connections. Doesn't always just have to be romance and lovers. It could just be anyone that's in our sphere, anyone that we're very close to, where it's like an actual love. Um, the fact that it's in reverse underneath strength is like, ooh, this person, they're being a pain in my butt, or like, why is this person giving me such a hard time? And again, it could be someone else where it's like, usually this energy, I get along well with it. Why is this energy giving me a hard time? It could be something very minor too for some of you. You know, when someone like teases, it's like somebody like poking fun, teasing, ridiculing. Watch out for any of that kind of stuff. Now, for those of you dealing with relationship things, this card can also represent soul ties and soul connections. When it's in reverse underneath strength, it's like, I will get through this. I want to work on this. I will work through this. So I think that's good in that sense. But I also don't think you should try too hard or pressure too hard. Like when I see strength with lovers in reverse, it's like, okay, path of least resistance. There's like this energy here where it's like the hands off approach is the best approach. So again, whatever it is you're dealing with, whoever it is you're dealing with, the more passive approach might be necessary. I mean, I'm not saying be a doormat here, but there's just this energy where it's like the passive approach, the hands off approach is the best. So could be some funky situations going on with like the circle around you or people that you care for. And you're not the only one that has that this week. We're just going to put it down right here. We're going to keep moving. We're going to keep moving. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it just feels a little pokey proddy, if that makes sense. But us go in on the Knight of Wands. I feel like we're going to get a big idea here. And then I can't discount the elemental mixture because now with all this fire, we have a little air which feeds the fire. So I know you had it for the past couple of weeks, this very fiery, volatile energy. It's still here. But let's go in on the Knight of Wands. Let's go in on the Knight of Wands. Okay. All right, so we got the King of Pentacles in reverse. Watch out for getting pulled into other people's stuff. That's like another thing here. I'm getting that in a very big way. So the King of Pentacles is usually very grounded, predictable. What you see is what you get. And when I see him in reverse underneath the Knight of Wands, it's like, what has gotten into you? It's like, what has gotten into you? So absolutely watch out for like explosive situations, unpredictable, unexpected situations, stuff like that, because I feel like there could be some people around you where it's like, what has gotten into you? Now, that doesn't necessarily have to be bad. Maybe it's a pleasant surprise, right? Maybe it's someone, let's put our optimistic glasses on. Maybe it's someone that you do clash with more so than you don't, or someone where it is a little friction. Maybe you are surprised and the energy actually smoothens out. Like it feels like whatever way it normally is, there's a little flip in it. But there's also this big energy about potentially getting pulled into other people's stuff that's not yours. I think that's an important or serious warning here already. Now, we're going to move over to the Seven of Cups and talk about that a little more when we have the Knight of Pentacles. That's big earth sign energy, Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus. Usually kings are controlled, they control their suit. This one is very, very predictable. Like what you see is what you get. So him in reverse under the Knight of Wands, it's like, whoa, what the heck is happening here? So again, watch out for the explosive situations or surprising or unexpected ones. Absolutely, with this energy, especially getting pulled into other people's. That's the thing. That's the big thing. Um, Nothing wrong with giving people advice. Nothing wrong with being there for people, but try not to get too hands on. That's what it feels like to me. We're going to move over to the Seven of Cups, see what that has. Then we'll do a quick recap before we get into the shadow. So why is the Seven of Cups here for my beautiful Cancerian friends? Thank you. Cool. Yeah. All right. Awesome. So this energy in the front, it's very much avoidable. So we have the Five of Swords in reverse underneath the Seven of Cups, where it's like, hey, think before you speak or think before you act. There's if you're the type of person where you already do that, then you're already in a good place, right? Now, usually the Five of Swords is a card of conflict. So funny that I'm talking about all this wild stuff in front and people giving a hard time. The Five of Swords, I don't want to say it's a bully, but it's a very pushy, very persistent type of energy. When it's in reverse under the Seven of Cups, it's like, okay, not my clown, not my circus. I'm just going to stay here and be in my own lane and mind my own business. So there is a situation or problem or whatever we want to phrase it as that is avoidable. So again, I think the hands-off approach is the best approach, or the light pressure, and that's something I've gotten for a lot of people this week, where it's like, hey, maybe the path of least resistance is the best way to go here. Don't try to force anything. Don't get too overly involved in anything. You just let something flow how it needs to flow. Don't fight against the current. Go with the current, right? That's how this feels to me. But the thing I do like about it is this energy is avoidable. It's avoidable. So let's go through and do a quick recap, and then we'll get into the shadows. If you kindly look in the box, Cancer, position number one, we have strength with the lovers in reverse. So again, for some of you that are going through love, romance things, this energy has a lot of willpower. Like, yes, I can fix this. I can make this work. But for those of you that are just watching this as a general reading, whether it's friends, coworkers, or otherwise, this energy is like, all right, that person's going through a rough one, or that person's acting different. Um, there's a difference between involving yourself too much or just being there for a person. Like, have you ever said, like, hey, we don't have to talk if you don't want to, but if you need anything, I'm here. It's given me a vibe like this. But yeah, there could be someone around you that, the vibe is off. Moving to the middle, we have the Knight of Wands with the King of Pentacles in reverse. This could either be an explosive or unexpected, surprising situation of some kind, where it's like, what has gotten into you? Now, hopefully, that's a good thing for some of you, but for others, it's like, hey, don't get pulled into other people's stuff if possible. Watch out for funky group dynamics and stuff like that. Um, on the back end, we have the Seven of Cups, and yeah, this is kind of an important warning, but we have the Seven of Cups with the Five of Swords in reverse. It does tell me it's avoidable. Even if you're already involved, I feel like you could kind of see yourself out if you want to, but it's telling me the path of least resistance, the path of less pressure, not trying to force anything, is the best one. So again, there's this avoidance that I'm picking up to. So please take a screenshot if you want to look into it further. Let's see what's in the shadows. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here for you, my friends. And yes, I always like to pull a shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge, they could be a good thing. So let's get you one. And yeah, if you made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel, and I have much love for all my channel members. All right, let's go. What do we got? What's in the shadows for Cancer, please? Cool. Ten of Wands. Yeah, this is a little bit of a heavy energy. In the good sense, this is super determined, just like we saw right here in the front, where there is this push, there is this determination of wanting a certain result or wanting to acquire something. But the Ten Wands is heavy, right? Like, so whether it's mind, body, soul, I mean, for some Cancers, maybe you're just feeling a little tired. That's very possible when this is here. It doesn't have to be worst case scenario. But this is also, when we look at advice, it's like, keep going, keep pushing, don't give up, even if the energy feels a little thick, or even if you do feel like there's a weight hanging on your shoulders. Um, Watch out for especially physical health and vitality when this is here. Make sure you're, like, if things have been wild, things have been crazy, maybe you need a little rest, maybe you need a little break, maybe that'll refresh you a little bit. But yeah, the Ten of Wands does weigh heavy. That's one thing I could absolutely say. So it's just something about the pacing when we look at the big ball of wax, where it's like, hey, not too hard, don't push too much. There's this energy where it's like, just let it flow, let it flow. So we're going to leave it at that, Cancer. That's what I have for you this week, my friends. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details of the May subscriber surprise. If you would like further insight on your situation, or you'd like to have a chat with me, you can book a personal session at my website, mastermetaphysics.com. My May calendar is up and the spots go quick, so you might want to check it out. But for the May subscriber surprise, we're doing another winner's choice. I will choose 3 lucky subscribers to win either a copy of the Tarot of the Owls, beautiful deck, and it's really nice, or 3 custom-made pendants from my website, mastermetaphysics.com. So if you'd like to get your name in for that, it's 2 simple things, as always, my friends. First, you must be subscribed, and second, let me know down in the comments, out of the cards that showed up in this week's reading, which one caught your attention most or resonated with you most. You'll be entered to win, and at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in the Posts tab. My friends, much love, and I'll talk to you soon.